She never expected the knock at her door to change everything. It was supposed to be a quick fix, a leaking kitchen pipe. But the man who arrived wasn't just a plumber. He was a single dad with worn-out boots, kind eyes, and a quiet strength. What she didn't know then was that he was about to repair far more than her broken sink. He was about to mend a shattered heart. It was 8:46 a.m. on a gray Thursday in Chicago when Claire Mitchell stared at the growing pool of water beneath her kitchen cabinet. Her mind was already swamped with deadlines, invoices, and unread emails. At 34, Claire was a successful freelance interior designer. Her condo was elegant, her life seemingly perfect. But beneath the surface, much like the slow drip of the pipe under her sink, something inside her had been quietly leaking for years. She had divorced 3 years ago. Her husband, Ethan, had chosen a younger model, both literally and metaphorically. The pain had been quiet, persistent, and hollow. And even though the world saw her as strong and independent, the truth was, Claire hadn't truly smiled in months. With a sigh, she scrolled through the local listings on her phone and called the first plumber with good reviews. Reliable hands plumbing, honest work, fair price. That was all she needed. She didn't expect empathy. She didn't expect kindness. And she certainly didn't expect David. When the doorbell rang, Claire barely glanced up. But when she opened the door, she paused. Standing there was a man in his late 30s. Tall, broad-shouldered, with scruffy hair and a tired but genuine smile. His hands were calloused, and his jeans bore paint stains and patches. But his eyes, warm, brown, and unexpectedly gentle, caught her off guard. "Hi," he said, adjusting the strap on his old tool bag. "David Hensley. You called about a leak?" Claire nodded. "Yes. Come in." As he worked under the sink, they made awkward small talk. She offered coffee. He declined politely. But as the minutes passed, she found herself watching him. There was something calm about his presence. Not hurried. Not performative. Just real. Then came the sound of a little girl's voice on his phone. "Daddy, did you pack my purple lunchbox today?" Claire smiled. He apologized sheepishly and stepped outside to take the call. Later, as he tightened the final screw beneath the cabinet, she asked, "Your daughter?" He nodded, wiping his hands. "Yeah. Emma. She's 6. Smart as a whip and stubborn like her mom." Claire hesitated before asking, "You're married?" "No," he said quietly. "Widowed. 3 years ago. Breast cancer took her fast. One day we were planning Emma's birthday. The next, we were at the hospital making impossible choices." Claire wasn't prepared for the lump in her throat. Something about the way he said it, without bitterness, without dramatics, moved her. "I'm sorry," she said, softly. "Thanks," he replied, then packed up his tools. "Leaks fixed. No charge for the inspection. You'll need to replace some of the under-cabinet wood, but it's not urgent." She nodded but didn't move. Her heart felt different. For the first time in a long time, she didn't want someone to leave. "Would you, maybe, want a coffee now?" David smiled, hesitated for a second, then said, "I'd like that." That coffee turned into a conversation that lasted 2 hours. Claire learned that David worked 2 jobs to make ends meet, did plumbing during the day, and volunteered as a handyman for single mothers on weekends. He never spoke with pride or self-pity. Just facts. Over the next few weeks, Claire found excuses to call him again. Fix the shower knob. Inspect the radiator. Look at the faulty ceiling fan. He never overcharged. Never lingered. But each time he left, he took a little piece of her loneliness with him. One evening, she invited him for dinner. He brought Emma. Claire was nervous. She had no children of her own. But Emma, with her bouncy curls and bright laugh, hugged Claire like they'd known each other forever. Dinner turned into laughter. Laughter turned into warmth. And warmth, slowly, turned into healing. They began seeing each other. Not dating, at least not in the traditional sense. They shared stories, helped each other. David fixed more than pipes. He taught Claire how to patch drywall, how to replace a fuse. She, in turn, designed Emma's new bedroom in pastel purples and fairy lights. It wasn't romantic, not yet. It was deeper than that. It was trust. Then came the storm. One Friday, Claire received a call. Her mother had collapsed in Arizona. Claire hadn't spoken to her in 5 years, not since her mother blamed her for the divorce. But blood has its pull. Claire flew down immediately. David offered to stay at her condo and take care of her cat. Emma stayed too. For the first time in years, Claire felt like someone had her back. Her mother survived. The week in Arizona forced painful conversations and broken apologies. When Claire returned, tired and drained, she opened the door to a surprise. Her condo was spotless. The under cabinet would have been replaced. Her favorite candles were lit. And Emma had drawn a card, "We missed you, Miss Claire. Daddy says you're his sunshine." Claire cried. Not the kind of tears that sting, but the kind that cleanse. That night, she sat on the balcony with David. The city sparkled below them. "I never thought I'd find this again," she whispered. "Me neither," he said. "I thought I'd just survive." For Emma. Claire looked at him. "You were sent to fix a pipe. But you fixed my heart." He laughed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I think you fixed mine too." They kissed. Softly. Gently. Like two souls finally finding home. 2 years later, Claire and David stood in a small church with Emma between them. It wasn't a grand wedding. But it was full of love. They bought a fixer-upper house together. Claire designed. David built. Emma ruled. And every Sunday, they made pancakes, laughed at cartoons, and danced in the kitchen. The leak under Claire's sink had been the beginning of everything. Sometimes, life doesn't knock loudly. Sometimes, it enters through a quiet door, wearing old boots and carrying a tool bag. And sometimes, when everything feels broken, all you really need is the right person to show up. Message to viewers. Never underestimate the people who come into your life in the most ordinary ways. They might just be carrying the tools to rebuild your soul.